All right, y'all. We give praise, esteem, and honor to the living Alahym in the name of Yahushua today. Pick this up in John chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and there they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Alahym in you. I come in my Abba's name, you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Alahym only? Do not think that I will accuse you. The Abba, there's one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Had to believe Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote in me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? Praise be to Abba and Shamahim in the name of Yahushua. It's time to get this party started. As you already know, Trap House finna be open for a lot of days in a row. You know what I'm talking about? If you ain't got no Brillo, I got you. You ain't got no troubleshooter, I got you. You need a lighter, we're selling all that, man. We got all that in here, man. It's one-stop shop, man. You come in, you can even go get high in the back. Sloan, man. Can put on here Johnny Harlem 654. That nigga ain't from Harlem. You know what I'm talking about? That nigga from Justine. Psalms what? 51 and 10. Praise Yahuwah. Praise Yahuwah. I'm glad to hear that, bro. I'm glad to hear that, man. I'm glad they're able to bounce back. Psalms 51 and 10, man, get a show on the road. He talking about that's his first email from when he was 13, and it shows. And it shows. Amen. That boy say he can't feel his face already. It's 2:00 in the morning in the UK. Created me a clean heart, O Alahym, and renew a right ruach within me. Cast me not away from your presence, and take your ruach hakadash. Take not your ruach hakadash from me. Restore unto me the joy of your salvation. Uphold me with your free ruach. Then will I teach transgressors your ways, and sinners shall be converted unto you. Deliver me from blood guiltness, O Alahym. You Alahym is my salvation, and my tongue shall sing aloud of your righteousness. O Lord, open you my lips, my mouth shall show forth your praise. For you desire not sacrifice, else I would give it. You delight not in burnt offering. The sacrifices of Alahym are a broken ruach, a broken and contrite heart. O Alahym, you will not despise. Do good in your good pleasure unto Zion. Build you the walls of Jerusalem. Then shall you be pleased with the sacrifices of righteousness, with burnt offering, whole offering, and then they shall offer bullocks upon your altar. So we were talking about verse, what that was, 16 to 17. And we kind of talked about, the broken spirit, the contrite heart. Let's discuss those things real quick because it's necessary in order for you to even get a clean heart. Of course, when we're talking about contrite, you have dakat, to be crushed, to be contrite, to be broken, to collapse mentally, to break sore. Now, the English definition for contrite, it's by definition, it means basically to repent or to feel sorrow or to be remorseful for your deeds. But I'll get you the full context of it. Sometimes you might hear contrite in the means of use the word contrition, but it's a feeling of expressing of remorse or repentance affected by guilt. You understand? So we want to look at in regards of him being broken. Let's go to Isaiah 53. We're not an Isaiah 53 run tour, but when it needs to be used, use it shall. Because that's what people like to do. That's what they like to argue about. We'll pick it up at verse 3 on general principle. I might have mentioned this here, man. I think, but it just hit my mind just now. Well, now it's no longer the first, as far as I'm concerned. But 13 years. You know what happened 13 years ago, Little Muffin? I punched you dead in your nose. 13 years ago, I seen Little Muffin. I say I'm gonna punch her dead in her nose, and I came with this knuckle right here, and boom, punch you dead in your nose. You don't remember that? 13 years ago. You was there. You remember? I'm trying to see how long before you figure out that you ain't been alive 13 years. I was wondering how long it was going to take you to figure that out. You was there. Confused. Man, I got out of prison. You know what happened after that? You know what happened after that, little mother? The word came. Wasn't even looking for it either. I mentioned that because that was just Deidre. I might have told that too. You know what I'm talking about? Dude was like, a lot of people poke holes in the New Testament, and then somebody, basically I'm like, y'all dealing with people who not skilled. So you bringing stuff to them, and you thinking that this is really a hole when it's not a hole in the New Testament. This is an individual who does not have the capabilities to actually explain to you what you're looking at. So then you thinking you've poked a hole in something when really you've done absolutely nothing. But he was like, a lot of us come from Christianity, the cognitive dissonance. And see, this is why I mentioned the getting out of prison. Because see, I thank the Lord for this here. I ain't never been in no church. I ain't never been in none of that. I ain't never sat on no church on no Wednesday Bible study, no revivals, no Sunday church, no none of that. So I have no Christian influence. So what a nigga gonna say then? You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people will take it if you go to pinpoint Mashiach here, pinpointing him there, giving forth the understanding of Alahym that is based off of Christianity, and you can't separate, Christianity from Hebrew culture. I told you there is no such thing as Hebrew culture. Hebrew culture does not exist. You know what I'm talking about? It's the word of Yahuwah. There's no such thing as Hebraic. Because see, if it's Hebraic culture, that means you made it up. You know what I'm talking about? See, you're supposed to know this because he said, Yahuwah say, which one of you taught me in the way of understanding? See, let me get you Isaiah 40 while it's in my brain. I mentioned this for the reason. Go and hit that like button if you would, please. I don't want you to come over here to Isaiah 40 and 13. Matter of fact, you can make it 9, matter of fact. I know this might sound rough to some, rude and disrespectful to others, but if it's Hebrew culture, that means Hebrews came up with it. Hebrews didn't come up with anything as it pertains to the word of Yahuwah. It's Yahuwah's culture. You have no culture. You were in Egypt in bondage and enslaved. You had no culture. You know what I'm talking about? You ain't have no culture. Culture is a way of living. It's a government and a set of laws and rules. We discussed this once before, the elements needed for a culture. Culture is not the clothes you wear. You know what I'm talking about? A culture is not your nationality. A culture is a governmental system and laws and rules and structure of a way of living. And you got that directly from Yahuwah. You didn't come up with that on your own. So you have no culture. See, that's why I don't ascribe to it. The same way Judah talked about how he ain't pro-black, and I felt the same way. I just don't go off on tangents like he do. I ain't never been pro-black. You know what I'm talking about? For what? I'm going to be what's right. It's just I have a leaning and an inkling to care for people who look like me first. You know what I'm talking about? As any race of people or nationality of people should. You shouldn't be offended if a white man, if an Asian man, if an Arab man wants to be able to lean to people who look like him first. The book tell you that, to the Yahudim first and then to the Gentile. That's just a given. You're going to feed the children in your house before you feed the children in somebody else's house. And if you are a man or offended by that, you're operating in the set of emotions, and clearly you had been raised by a woman. Because no man of any nationality would teach his son any different. You take care of your own first, son, and then you can do for others. You can't do for somebody else and you broke yourself. That don't even make any sense. You got to take the time to build yourself up. Yeah, that's what he say. I just didn't mention it. He say he pro-truth. And I told y'all before, I'm pro-Yahuwah. See, I roll with Yahuwah. See, if you're going to be pro-black, pro-Hebrew, it calls you to go against Yahuwah. I'm not going against Yahuwah for nobody. I don't care who you are, and I don't care what you have to offer. It means absolutely nothing to me. You could take it and blow it out your butt. You know what I'm saying? I can't do nothing with it in the grand scheme of things. You know what I'm talking about? It's only temporary pleasure. You're supposed to remember what the righteous man wrote in the epistle of the Hebrews, that Moses forsook the pleasures of sin to suffer with the children of his people, to suffer affliction with the children of his people. He didn't want to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. He had respect unto the recompense of the reward. See, some people, they like to enjoy the pleasures of sin. That's their business. I ain't got nothing to do with that. You know what I'm talking about? Because see, the reason why this is going to be a negative for you, especially, you know what I'm talking about, if you in the word, is that if you're going to be pro-Yahuwah, the man has already told you, you're going to offend people. You can't be pro-black. You can't be pro-Hebrew. You can't be pro-nation. You can't be any of that because you're going to end up having to make a decision between them and Yahuwah. And who you going to choose? You know what I'm talking about? Who you going to choose? Who you going to choose? See, a lot of these Hebrews, they don't want to talk about. That's why I told you got to watch them nation building cats, man, and all that stuff dudes be talking about because they not pro-Yahuwah. They're not putting Yahuwah first. That's why they let certain stuff slide. That's why they let certain dudes slide. But we roll with Yahuwah first and don't care how nobody feel. We're not here to make friends. Paul already told you that. Mashiach showed you that. If I please men, then I wouldn't be the servant of Mashiach. We're here to please Alahym. And those who please Alahym will be pleased with us. It's really as simple as it goes. We're not here to please men. We're not here to make friends. I don't care who don't like me. What that mean to me? Even if we wasn't in the word, why I care about another man liking me? Nigga, that's gay. Do you know what I'm talking about? Care about no other man liking me. Care about what no other man got to say about me. Especially if he can't look me in my face and say it to me. Do you know what I'm talking about? You're not respected. You're not a respectable man if you got a problem with a man and you don't go look that man in the face. And the reason why I mention this here, because most men don't have problems with other men when they do that. They feelings hurt. See, that's what you're supposed to learn from with that situation with Will Smith on a masculine level, instead of being an attack dog for an evil, cankerous whore. Because you're supposed to look at this, my brother. So if my brother is offending me as a man, I should be able to have a conversation with my brother to avert violence. You know what I'm talking about? First. Now, if he rebuffs my ability to have a conversation with him, then violence may be the only solution for the matter. You know what I'm talking about? Indeed. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? It's like you have to look at that, man. I told you that before. I told you I heard King Von say that, and I've seen that my entire life. A lot of dudes done got killed, man, because they just didn't know how to have a conversation. And you can't be listening to simps and sucker niggas who want to kill and destroy their lives for bald-headed whores. You know what I'm talking about? Less than honorable women. Women who had nobody in their life would ever jump in front of anything for them, and they done found a damn fool willing to do it. Don't let that nigga boost you up to destroy your life because he got an old stinking rundown maggot whore that ain't nobody else want. You know what I'm talking about? Man, you don't throw your life away over no folly, man. You don't ruin especially not for no woman who don't care about you. Man, ain't nobody who gonna care about you gonna want you to throw your life away. You know what I'm talking about? Want you to make an emotional decision that you're gonna have to live with the long-term ramifications of. You don't understand that 1 second of emotional decision can have a lifetime of consequences and ramifications. You can't go out like that as a man. You know what I'm talking about? And that's what these dudes be trying to play on y'all when they come at you nation building. What about your people? What about Yahuwah, bro? That's what I'm about. And if you about Yahuwah, you ain't going to have a problem with what I got going on because we going to link. It's going to be nothing. It's going to be a seamless thing. It's going to be as if I've known you my entire life. You know what I'm talking about? It's going to be seamless, my G. Our heart's going to be the same. All it's going to be the same. Ain't going to be no difference. See, the boy's not on that, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm not on what none of these niggas is on, man. I really don't care about being nobody's friends. I don't care about no subscribers. I don't care about any of that. I am genuinely and thoroughly unconcerned. You know what I'm talking about? We're only concerned with one thing and one thing only, and that's the salvation of every single solitary person's soul who enters into this trap house. That is it. That is the only thing that we're concerned with. We're not concerned with anything else. And that salvation is a byproduct of also dealing with your masculinity, your femininity, and the ability for you to execute this man will and live life like you're supposed to live it. You know what I'm saying? It's not that difficult, man. You niggas on some other type of time, man. You better watch these niggas, man. That's all I can tell you. I ain't telling you I'm the bastion and the repository of all knowledge and information, but you better be discerning enough and wise enough to watch these dudes and pay attention to what these dudes saying out their mouth and how they moving and how they acting. That's 100 to you. This stuff that these dudes be out here doing, that y'all see these dudes be doing and talking about, that's 100 to you. That's what it is to be a man. That's solid to you, my G. Yo, we outside. You know what I mean? You got to think about that, yo. You know what I'm saying? You got to think about that, man. Dudes be throwing. Because I'm telling you this here, it's no different than him. What he's showing you, what he showed you is just as easy it is to throw your soul away. Isaiah 40:9, my G. Behold, Yahuwah Alahym will come with strong, and his arm shall rule for him. And behold, his reward is with him, and his work before him. He shall feed his flock like a shepherd. He shall gather the lambs with his arm and carry in his bosom. And shall gently lead those that are young, with young, who have measured the waters in the hollow of his hand and meted out Shamahim with the span, comprehend the dust of the earth in a measure, weighed the mountains and scales and the hill in the balance. Who have directed the ruach of Yahuwah, or his counselor have taught him? How you doing, bro? Yeah, man, you can get this seat right here, bro. Say, with whom he took counsel, instructed him, taught him in the path of judgment, taught him knowledge, showed him the way of understanding, and showed to him the way of understanding. Ain't nobody taught this man, so there is no such thing as Hebrew culture. It does not exist. It's simply what Yahuwah has brought forth. That's your culture. Your culture is in heaven. If you want a culture, a Hebrew culture, that means you want something in the earth, and you can have that. You definitely can have that. I'm just seeing if I want to use something. Yeah, come over here to Job 21, if you would. And also, just so you know, because I like to let y'all know this is Job talking in Job 21. Job 21:1, if you like. See, with me, I know I'm offensive. I don't look like these dudes. I don't dress like these dudes. People be like, they say, he say nigga and call people hoes. Hey, one thing about it, if you don't behave like a nigga, it won't offend you. If you ain't a whore, it ain't gonna bother you. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if you done had sex with 85 men. If you done live your life for Yahuwah, that shouldn't bother you unless you got the mind of a whore. I told you for a long time ago, it's not what you do with your vagina, it's how you think. You know what I'm talking about? It's how you think is what makes you a whore. You could have one husband and not sleep with nobody else and still be a whore. You know what I'm talking about? I've been told you that Beyonce's a whore. She ain't around here sleeping around with no whole bunch of men, but she promotes whoredom. In the public, she don't live whoredom at home, but she promoted to you though. She's a wife at the house. You know what I'm talking about? And love being a wife. She get in front of y'all and tell y'all girl power and I'm independent and all that there. That woman is a submissive wife and she said as much and you can tell it. She's pleased to serve her husband. But see, there's a difference. There's a difference why you see Beyonce interact and talk about Jay-Z versus how you see Jada Smith talk about Will Smith, because she doesn't respect him. That was his first mistake. Bro was clowning about it. Some people done said it, but he was like, yeah, you slapped the wrong person. He should have slapped her because that's who he really upset with. That woman don't respect you. She don't like you. So I told y'all, man, said, truth be told, women have a type. You know what I'm saying? That's why dudes really be wanting to know. Most dudes don't really want to know who you had sex with. They want to know who you've been in relationships with or who imprinted you, because if he's opposite of your type, then that means she probably don't like you. And she's probably there for a different reason. You know what I'm saying? Women have a type. Now, if you got a woman, she been with all different types of dudes, or she just a slut bucket. She a maggot. You know what I'm saying? She'll be with anybody. She'll be with anybody who give her some attention. You know what I'm talking about? Just like you have to pay attention to women who've been in relationship after one relationship end and they jump in another. She got mental defects. There's something wrong with her mentally. You've been with somebody for a year. Now you break up with them and you jump and get with somebody else. Then you separate from them and then you jump and get with somebody else. There's something wrong with you mentally. You know what I'm talking about? That don't even make no sense. She ain't out here slutting, but she's slutting at the same time. Because something wrong with you. You going from man to man. And 9 times out of 10, they either the same man with a different face, or you just getting different type of men. 9 times out of 10, she's rebellious and a disciplinary problem. You know what I'm talking about? Or she thinks she a good woman and she really ain't. You're dealing with low caliber dude. See, when you with a low caliber dude, any woman can be a good woman. She ain't got to do much. Oh, she clean them toilets, bro. That's a good woman. That don't mean she's a good woman. I mean she cleans good. She cook every day. I would hope so. She'd starve to death. I'm just being honest with you. A lot of dudes don't. That doesn't make you a good woman. You know what I'm saying? That's why if you press a woman on how she's a good woman, the first thing she's going to lead with is cooking clean. You know what I'm saying? I just seen a bunch of dudes have a conversation about, would you let your woman control your finances? Absolutely not. Only reason why dudes say they're having this question, because most dudes you get with a woman when you're young. If you done took the time to build your money and manage your own finances, what would I need her to do that for? I've already accomplished that. I don't need your assistance in that. They were talking about, what if she's a financial expert? I don't care. Like, who cares? Let me see what the man talking about. Shalom, man. I mean, I could understand that for a woman. I know a woman gonna be greatly offended first time she ever hears me. They gonna think he crazy or he rude. You know what I'm saying? Most men can compartmentalize and say, you know what, that's pretty harsh. But as you said, let me listen to what he's talking about. Women are emotional creatures. So if it don't touch them off the top, they gonna bounce. I don't like that. I don't want to hear that. Because they go to thinking about themselves. Am I really a whore? Well, are you? See, the issue is not are you, is what are you going to do to remedy the situation and circumstance? But in order to remedy the situation and circumstance, you're going to have to get a harsh jolt of 100% Maxwell House coffee. You know what I'm talking about? Wake your white on up. You know what I'm talking about? And that's just life. But you know, most people don't want to deal with that. Job 21:1. But Job answered and said, hear diligently my speech and let this be your consolation. Suffer me that I may speak. After that I have spoken, mock on. As for me, my complaint to man. If it was so, why should not my ruach be troubled? Pause. Who can tell me what verse 4 relates to? This should be very easy. As for me, there is no is, my complaint to man. And if, why should not my ruach be troubled? Huh? You got something for me over there, Big Boo? I give you complaint. Complaint is siach. It is meditation, complaint, musing, communication, prayer, talk. So just so you see that complaint, it's not literal complaining. It's prayer. It's thought. More specifically, as for me, is Adam. Basically, is my prayer to a man. Is he praying to a man, or is he praying to Alahym? And if, and you have your why account, wherefore, and if it was to a man, why not should be troubled his ruach. Of course, troubled here is to be impatient, to be vexed, or to be grieved. Katsar. And there you have it. He's got something on the chat. I'll let y'all in the room come on. Son. Come on, Civic, because you've been trying to go hard body. You know what I'm talking about?
Exactly what I want to.
You got something for me, Big Boot? What do you got for verse 4? Where you gonna take me with that? What you gonna give me for that? Anybody else on here can interject if you want.
Same thing as well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it ain't many places you're gonna be able to swing with that. So Saran put on there for you. Know I'm exceedingly sorrowful, even unto death. But he hadn't made his prayer and meditation at that particular point. He makes his prayer and meditation when he asked for the cup to pass. He didn't make that prayer and meditation to man. Why is that important? If you have some type of meditation or prayer that you have, like we didn't discuss recently, and you Psalm 62:7, you know what I'm saying? Go to Yahuwah, for he is a refuge for us. That's what you're supposed to take, you know what I'm saying? Go first. You know, you can sit back, which I done been told you this before. One of the biggest mistakes I'm going to keep telling y'all this, man. I don't care who get offended, man. Don't let these women keep telling you can come to them. You know what I'm saying? That woman don't want to hear that. She don't want to deal with that. And to be told, but 99.9% of the time, she ain't even going to have no answers for you anyway. You know what I'm saying? Now she might have some type of emotional support she can give you, but see, you know what I'm saying? But I'm of the mind of I don't really need emotional support, and the reason being is you got the word. That doesn't mean you're not gonna have emotional things going on as you as a man. But I'm not a type of dude to be looking around here. I'm looking for a man or a group of or a woman to give me emotional support. You know what I'm saying? That means I'm not focusing on the inner man. I'm not focusing on the spirit if I'm looking for emotional support. You know what I'm talking about? Spiritual strengthening and emotional support are two different matters. You know what I'm saying? I just want y'all to know that seeking strengthening spiritually is not the same as seeking emotional support. You know what I'm saying? Those are two different things. And at this point, if you are over the age of 35 and you don't know that those are two different things, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. Now, if you under 35, I can understand why you would not understand that those are two different things. I wouldn't blame you for that. But even if you weren't in the word, at 30, after you get over 35, you should have enough life experience to know the difference. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? That's just my personal opinion. You know what I'm saying? You're in your 20s. I wouldn't expect you to know the difference between that unless you were extremely blessed by Yahuwah with wisdom or somebody taught you and showed you that. Just going through life thinking, you're going to think that they're the same. You know what I'm saying? But emotional support does not strengthen you spiritually. It just gives you support to lean on your flesh and whatever feeling you have. And when that passes, then that support is gone. Spiritual strengthening lasts past whatever type of tribulation or pain you feeling at that particular time. And it's a little bit more enduring. Emotional support is temporary. You know what I'm saying? Because that emotion is temporary. Once that emotion is gone, the support is gone. Like I said, spiritual strengthening lasts with you for a lifetime. Right. That's why when he told Peter, he said, and when you are converted, strengthen your brethren, because we know what everlasting strength is. So that's why spiritual strengthening lasts longer. You know what I'm saying? And 9 times out of 10, spiritual strengthening is not palatable to the taste. It's not going to feel good to you because you're probably going to hear a few things that you don't want to hear. You know what I'm talking about? It'll make you uncomfortable. It's no different than lifting weights. You know, you're going to be uncomfortable for a little bit. And then, you know what I'm saying? And then you come out better for it on the other side. Let's continue. I'm in verse 5. Mark me and be astonished. Lay your hand upon your mouth. Even when I remember, I am afraid, trembling, take hold on my flesh. And of course, that is Ezekiel 12. You remember when we tell you to eat your bread and drink your water with quaking and trembling. You know what I'm talking about? Which, of course, you know that's what he did when he drank the wine and ate the bread. You understand? And why Paul say, you know, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. See, most people hear that, but they don't know where he get it from. That's what I mean when I'm talking about holes. This is one thing that I've always told you. LaMuffa can tell you because I've been telling it to her for 13 years, really about 12. You know what I'm talking about? When she decided, you know what, I want to do this too. If you want to know, first and foremost, if you're not skilled in the text, you need to spend all of your time in the first 39. You know what I'm saying? You got to spend all of your time in the first 39 if you're unskilled. You know what I'm talking about? And then when you go in the back 9, if you would, everything that you read, you need to be able to say, okay, I need to go in the front 9 and justify what I'm reading. That's how you do it. You know what I'm talking about? If you're talking about dudes, you're talking about his holes. I'm not telling you this to be able to go out and battle or dispute with anyone. I'm just telling you how I was instructed. That is what I did. That's how it went. Now, whatever understanding he give you, that's between you and him. I ain't got nothing to do with that. You know what I'm talking about? It's forth is what you're looking at. I ain't got nothing to do with that. I'm going to say you what I'm going to say you. But whatever you read on your own, if you feel like, okay, I want to do this here. See, that's what I told you before. If you want to gain understanding, the first thing first is you need to be gaining understanding for the sake of wanting understanding. Not to go talk to nobody about it, not to go debate nobody about it, not to have no conversations with nobody about it. None of that. No, I ain't getting no instruction from no dude. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that. You have to change your mindset. Of course, I wasn't on no internet. I ain't had no Facebook. I ain't know about any of that. So the consumption of the word was strictly for I wanted to know. Now, what he gave is what he gave. I ain't had nothing to do with that. Because you can study till your face turn blue and he won't show you nothing. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just telling you the approach. Do not seek understanding for the purpose of saying, I want to teach it to somebody. I want to tell it to somebody. I want to show it to somebody. I want to argue and debate. Don't do that. It's going to stunt your growth. Let it be for your development, and then after that, let the chips fall where they may. You know what I'm saying? Because when you do that and you master when I say master the 39, meaning lay it up on your heart, actually do that. When you go on the back 9 and you see this and you see that, your mind should already train. Okay, if I don't know what this means, I need to search the first half of the book then. Because it is there. There is a mate. Nothing that any of those men wrote in those letters and nothing that the Lord did does not have an explanation in the first 39. There is an explanation for it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just letting you know, because we coming into unleavened bread, and we're going to be dealing with something in the psalm that I mentioned y'all Wednesday, 81. That'll probably be the tenor for the week. Who knows? Whatever direction that we're going. But I'm just letting you know. That's how you do it. Everything from Matthew to Revelation, you can justify it. Just because you can't don't mean there's something wrong with what was written. You just don't know. You know what I'm saying? And ain't nothing wrong with that. There's 2 ways you can remedy that. You can seek somebody out who know, or you can pray and hope he let you know. And truth be told, if he don't let you know directly, he just going to send somebody around your way, some way, somehow, who do know, and you're going to get the information. That's usually how that goes. Usually goes on the latter. You know what I'm saying? Goes on the former. It really is his prerogative. You know what I'm saying? It's really up to Yahuwah. No man can tell you how his information is going to get disseminated. We can show you the ways he disseminates it, but how he going to get it to a specific individual, that's up to Yahuwah. No man can determine that. Verse, what it is, 7. Job 21:7. Wherefore do the wicked live, become old, yea, and mighty in power. The seed is established in their sight with them, their offspring before their eyes. Their houses safe from fear, neither the rod of Alahym upon them. So what Job is stating here is that it seems that the wicked prosper. You know what I'm talking about? The kids don't get no correction. See, Paul, he's mentioned something with correction. I'm going to show you Paul talking about a little correction. I want to talk, I think it's 1 Corinthians chapter 4. I believe that I won't. If it ain't, I'll correct it if that's not what I want. Yes, sir. It is 1 Corinthians chapter 4. You can pick it up at verse 10 if you would. We are fools for Mashiach's sake, but you are wise in Mashiach. We are weak, but you are strong. You are honorable. We are despised. Now, of course, that goes into a statement that is, and we don't have time for that tonight. But it's a statement in what? In Proverbs, where you say, the rod is made for a fool's back. Then, of course, that Yahushua was beaten with many stripes. You know what I'm talking about? Pilate, he scourged him. That means they hit his back with stripes. That's where they beat you at when they hit you with a whip. They didn't hit you in the face. They didn't hit you in your chest. They hit you across your back. You know what I'm talking about? Then, of course, we read last week in that Proverbs 7, right? With the bile coming out on the ground, all that type of stuff. Remember, it said he's led like a fool to the stock and an ox for correction. That's why Paul is making this statement about that. We are fools for Mashiach's sake. You understand? Because there's passages that pertain to him when it comes to that, because you would have to be considered a fool to do that. Like this here, right? We might do stuff with BOA, but like BOA was talking trash about the Lord. Like if I was in his face, I'd straighten him about that. We serve the true and living God, not nobody that's dead. He don't even know the God he think he serves is the God that he's speaking against. He think Jesus Christ, as far as he's concerned, that this is a false deity. Don't know. That's the same God. My God don't need to become a man. You better be glad he did. You know what I'm talking about? Because you would have had, but it's not a retarded, it's a lack of understanding. An individual doesn't understand how you needed to be redeemed. In order to redeem the curse of Adam, a man had to be substituted in his place in order to take that off. Because you got to understand, people say eye for an eye. Like they say, he mocking, he say turn the other cheek, get in the coat. That's in the book. I done told y'all that before. David is your scriptural example of turn the other cheek. Jacob is your law example of turn the other cheek. These men did this. When he said, if he take your coat, give him this here. David and Jacob are your examples of this. They literally did that. When you read Proverbs and he say, if your enemy hungry, give him bread. You know what I'm saying? Like these are dudes, you don't really know the text. That's what I mean by not reading for understanding. Because if you read for understanding, you would know that. You know what I'm saying? You would know when he say turn the other cheek. David could have killed Saul, didn't do it. Saul was trying to kill him. And when he could have killed him, he didn't do it Because what he was trying to tell him was to show mercy on your enemies. Yahuwah deal with your enemies. He wasn't telling you to do that with no Gentile doing all this. Again, you got to know the context when he said that. He said, in past times you heard us to hate your enemies and love your neighbors. So he was talking about Hebrew on Hebrew dealings. You know what I'm talking about? So he was talking about the law. Don't bear no grudge against your neighbor. What we talked about last week. See, that's what I mean. Dudes don't know the book. That's why you have to listen and pay attention to what people saying. They don't know the word. Because if they knew the word, they would have known that. You know what I'm saying? They would have known, nah, man. See, he said this because these men did this, and did this. You ain't supposed to be walking around here killing and hating somebody who share the same bloodline as you. You supposed to let Yahuwah deal with them. That's what his law told you to do. We know this. Did we just read this last week? He said, don't bear no grudge against the children of your people. So you supposed to let Yahuwah deal with them. You know what I'm saying? But that's because dudes don't got the love of God in their heart. So why would they do such a thing? You know what I'm talking about? It's the same way we done talk with dudes and they mock about this here. When this man said, if you look upon, because we're dealing with it, because we're dealing with Psalms 51. If you look on another man's wife, you committed adultery with her in your heart already. Or with lust, he talking about David, because that's what David did. You know what I'm saying? That's why he telling you that. Not, if you look at a woman and you desire her in the street, you committed adultery with her. No, that means you want to have sex with her. You know what I'm talking about? At the end of the day, man, you got to desire somebody to want to marry. Nobody, only a woman's gonna marry a man she doesn't physically desire because he'll take care of her. That's what you see with Jada Smith. She does not. She's already said this. This woman entered into a situation and said she wanted to open marriage with this man. That wasn't his idea. That was her idea. He didn't want to do that because he wanted that woman. She didn't want him. Why didn't she want him? She literally got on her little show and said, this man doesn't please me sexually. So if he doesn't please me sexually, it's because you're not aroused by him sexually, but he's a high achiever. So I'll deal with it. But I'll go have sex with other men because he does not do it for me. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make you a wicked person if you see a woman and you have a desire for her. If she doesn't belong to anyone, how can you commit adultery with a woman who doesn't have a husband? That doesn't even make any sense. You know what I'm talking about? Now, if that woman got a husband, you's an evil nigga. You know what I'm talking about? Because remember, David seen her bathing, what it said, he called for. He had lusted after her in his mind. So he had already made up in his mind. He knew who wife that was. It said that. That's why we're reading this. This Psalm 51 is about what he did to Uriah the Hittite after he took Bathsheba. He already knew who that woman belonged to. He already knew that. You know what I'm talking about? That's what that means. But these boys don't know. And I'm not saying this to flex. I'm just telling y'all this the way you can read something to establish to you that, dang, that man running the law down. He ain't really